Hello, welcome to our chapter by chapter devotional through the entire Bible. Today we're going to be in Genesis 11, and most of that chapter is taken up with a story we call the Tower of Babel. Since this story is not very long, let me just read it to you, verses 1 through 9, and then make some brief comments. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words, and as the people migrated from the east, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had bricks for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they have one language, all have one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left building off the city. They left off building the city. Therefore its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the languages of all the earth, and from there the Lord dispersed them over all the face of the earth. So these events begin with all the people in the world speaking one language, being in one place, and they were in unity. Unfortunately, they used that unity to rebel against the Lord instead of serving the Lord. So this text is at minimum a reminder to us that not all unity is good unity. It would not be good for us to work in unity with a government when it's promoting ungodly policies. It's not good for us to work in unity with groups that may call themselves Christian, yet undermine essential teachings and doctrines of the Bible. We're also told they settled in the land of Shinar, which is another word for Babylonia or Babylon. At one time, it was a literal kingdom and city known for its prideful people, its disobedience to God, its pagan religion, and things of that nature. Ultimately, literal Babylon became a representation, a symbol of all those who were characterized by pride, disobedience, hostility toward God, and false religion, which is why the Bible tells us to come out of Babylon, not to have anything to do with pride, disobedience, hostility, and false religion. And despite the fact that God had told them to spread out through the whole earth to reproduce his image, they chose not to do that. They chose to do their own thing. It shows mankind is determined to rebel against God. He's not basically good with positive intentions, and they committed basically two sins. The first sin is that they were self-seeking. Their primary goal was not to glorify God, but to serve their own best interests and to glorify themselves. They say in verse 4, "Let us build ourselves a city so that we won't be scattered over the whole earth. Let us make a name for ourselves." So their first sin was self-seeking, and their second sin was foolish self-confidence, spiritual self-confidence. They were going to build a tower, a pyramid basically, that reached to the heavens, which is a way of saying they felt that they could get to heaven by their own works, by their own efforts, by their own sacrifices. So those two things have characterized men ever since, characterized mankind ever since: self-seeking, self-glorifying, and self-confidence and spiritual pride, what we might call self-righteousness. Well, when God sees this, he's angered by it, and he separates the people. He confuses their languages, and he spreads the people out over the whole world so they won't be able to continue as adamantly in their rebellion. Now, this did not stop man's rebellion, and God knew it would not stop man's rebellion, but what it did do was slow down man's rebellion. It's important for us to remember that God always wins. So I think as we look at the Tower of Babel, we should be reminded of those lessons, that spiritual pride, self-righteousness, self-promotion, ungodly unity are all things that bring the judgment of God. That was true a few thousand years ago at the Tower of Babel, and it will still be true today. There's going to come a time, according to the book of Revelation, when mankind will once again unite together to build a name for themselves, to be unified in rebellion against God. It ultimately comes to the pinnacle where people are engaged in the battle of Armageddon, and just like at the Tower of Babel, God always wins. I hope you will consider these things. Have a blessed day.